Chapter 126. Life and Death Marathon, 17, Doomsday Spiritual Artifact Master. Good Brother and Bad Brother. The artillery purchased by Hyman was the most popular hot weapon at the northern base, equipped with automatic loading and ballistic calibration functions. Its only flaw was the extremely high demand on the operator. It required a single person to complete angle measurement, distance measurement, aiming, and then firing, for precise strikes against the enemy. Training a qualified gunner required a huge cost, and after the city walls were breached, the zombies seemed to have a collective consciousness, targeting these elites as their primary attack objective. Two silver-white wheelchairs quietly ascended the defensive structure. Lu Xiaoyu flipped over several zombies gnawing at the remains of the gunners, stopping in front of a row of artillery positions. With lowered eyes, he studied for 2 seconds, adeptly corrected the ballistic deviation, aimed, and fired. Boom! 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 6 shells consecutively shot, landing in the most densely packed central area of the zombies. Each cannon blast created deep craters in the ground. Lu Xiaoyu's calculations were almost flawless. Hundreds of zombies were blasted away, some directly reduced to putrid mush. Lu Xiaoyu's silver hair fluttered as all 6 arms moved in unison. He resembled the legendary sea monster from ancient times, effortlessly controlling even the hell scythe. Swiftly adjusting the gun barrels, he switched to single-shot mode. Bullets sprayed out, blowing apart zombie skulls and turning bodies into sieves. The pressure on the city wall immediately lightened. "Thank you, brother." The surviving gunners, their faces covered in blood, shouted their gratitude towards him. Lu Xiaoyu nodded gracefully. Those gunners staggered back to their positions, steadfastly holding the line. Lu Xiaoyu glanced down, noticing the smell of gunpowder all over him. In contrast, Zhuang Qingyan, who was following him, was like a noble prince, moving as if on a leisurely stroll, his clothes untouched by dust. He maneuvered his wheelchair around the bodies on the ground, afraid of even a speck of blood staining his attire. That picky and fastidious countenance mirrored his youth. Anyone familiar with him wouldn't mistake it. Lu Xiaoyu extended a mechanical arm, intentionally handing over the dirtiest hell scythe, playfully tossing it into Zhuang Qingyan's lap. "Do you know how to use it? If not, I can teach you. It's because you didn't take the firearms course." Zhuang Qingyan's brows were so tight that he could pinch a fly. He grabbed a slightly cleaner piece of cloth from the ground, wiped the gun barrel's black-red bloodstains, loaded live ammunition, and aimed at Lu Xiaoyu's head. "Fire your cannons, less talk." Lu Xiaoyu huffed in a Tsunere manner, completely focused on controlling the 6 artillery pieces. Zhuang Qingyan adjusted the gun's aim but kept his gaze fixed on his face. "I've noticed, you've been more agreeable lately." Lu Xiaoyu's movement imperceptibly paused for a moment. Using the standard alliance language with a peculiar tone, he retorted, "Oh, dear friend, I've always been agreeable. It's just that you don't understand me enough. Did you steal money from Song Ke? Moved it to your own account?" Zhuang Qingyan arched an eyebrow. "Are you insulting my character?" Lu Xiaoyu practically had "You're ridiculous" written all over his face. "TCH, boring." The two glared at each other, then turned their heads away. Lu Xiaoyu was like a human artillery, rapid-fire cannons booming down onto the battlefield, silver snakes dancing, zombies flipping. Amidst the deafening noise, he suddenly spoke, "The plan Eternity. Is that the one?" "Which one?" Zhuang Qingyan replied casually. "The one where you were so ecstatic, shouting everywhere, 'Finally, I can participate in the project with that person,' is that it?" Lu Xiaoyu didn't look at him. "I could hear your ghostly cries even when I was sleeping on the 5th floor that day." Zhuang Qingyan fell silent for a moment before retorting sarcastically, "You're the idiot. At least I didn't oversleep and miss an exam." He didn't deny it. Without lifting his head, Lu Xiaoyu continued swiftly while killing zombies. "Regarding the plan Eternity, when you explained it, you mentioned many concepts. Humans, zombies, awakeners, mutant zombies, evolved zombies, the fallen. But regardless of the species, they all have fatal flaws, and in your logical chain, there happens to be a crucial missing link. Also the most perfect link. As you've said, the initial intention of the plan Eternity was to create the most perfect genes. Its results should have eternal life, immense abilities, while retaining consciousness and intelligence, achieving a thorough evolution of humanity. I want to know, did this research succeed? Lu Xiaoyu asked persistently. Ever heard a saying? Curiosity killed the cat, Zhuang Qingyan said lightly. I only know that curiosity is the staircase to human progress. Since you joined Qinglan, you disappeared from Liuboni, and when we met again. Lu Xiaoyu finally found a moment to glance at him, scanning him up and down, ultimately resting on his legs, recently healed from serious injuries. Well, it's unexpected. Since you care so much about this project, Lu Xiaoyu asked again, I'm genuinely curious, did your research succeed? This time, Zhuang Qingyan took a long time to contemplate before slowly responding, once. Even Lu Xiaoyu couldn't hide his immense surprise, but Zhuang Qingyan didn't give him a chance to speak. Just once, 14 years ago, there was a nuclear leak in Lok, followed by an explosion. The entire Qinglan Research Institute was devastated, including the project researchers, all experimental subjects, and the local storage hub that contained all the data for the plan Eternity. Since that day, the results of this research could only be declared a failure. The data can be recovered, Lu Xiaoyu remarked dismissively. That hub was pulverized into fragments. Not even the tiniest nail-sized piece could be reconstructed, not even by someone like you. Zhuang Qingyan's eyes held a chilling coldness. Moreover, do you think the Central Court didn't anticipate this? How much data was in the hub? Lu Xiaoyu inquired. Exceeding 3,000 zettabytes, Zhuang Qingyan replied. 3,000 zettabytes of data. Lu Xiaoyu clicked his tongue twice. That number sounds quite terrifying. He then maneuvered another round of 6 cannons to fire simultaneously, taking advantage of the automatic reloading brake, seemingly casually glancing at Zhuang Qingyan. You think, is there anyone whose brain works exceptionally well, capable of memorizing all the data? I say, Zhuang Qingyan's tone was icy, if you don't start firing again, the zombies will get too close. Both of them simultaneously raised their weapons and began firing. At that moment, a piercing alarm sounded, and the first iron gate of Hyman opened. After the defense line was breached, the tide of zombies found a clear direction of attack, rushing relentlessly toward the iron gates, fearing to fall behind. From a vantage point, the dense horde of zombies appeared like moving black ants, devouring Hyman at an alarming pace. At this critical moment, dozens of armored vehicles rolled out from within the city. Yan Biao, the magistrate of Hyman, stood at the forefront, holding a megaphone, roaring, "Push forward! Artillery and rifle hands must not retreat. Behind this gate are our parents, wives, children, our homeland. Not a step backward. Hyman can't afford any failure. Even if we're to die, let's die charging forward." The soldiers of Hyman, their eyes reddened, fervently agreed, fiercely spraying the oncoming zombie horde with gunfire and continuous bombardment. The armored vehicles thundered across the land, crushing the zombies attempting to breach the defensive line into pulp. Yan Biao mounted a hell scythe on the vehicle's roof, roaring wildly as he fired repeatedly, ejecting shell casings like a torrential stream. Whether awakener or ordinary person, sentinel or civilian, intense battles erupted throughout Haman's city walls, streets, and alleys. Even women and children weren't hiding at home, spontaneously aiding in transporting ammunition, providing frontline support. The most striking in close combat were hundreds of warriors wielding azure-colored weapons, including Wang Hu and his bodyguard. They fearlessly swung at the zombie heads, resolute and swift in their actions. Empowered by mysterious weapons, their combat prowess was off the charts. Damn it, I just bought a 500 square meter flat in the city and haven't even renovated it. You bastards want to destroy my new home? No manners. Wang Hu cursed while punching and kicking. When everyone's determination to defend the city merged into a unified force, it was truly fearsome. Two currents of zombies at the riverbank and bridge quickly retreated. The path paved with decayed flesh and shattered bones extended from the iron gates to the riverbank, making it impossible to distinguish between the dead in battle and the zombies. And District D-135, Hyman, astonishingly held back the successive waves of zombies all on its own. Tustin's group attack took advantage of the high altitude to clear an open space, while Yin Xiao shot and instantly sniped the approaching zombies. I've taken the commission from above to take it to the northern base. If you hand it over to me, I assure you I won't let you lose. It would be a win-win for us. No need. Song Kei's heart sank. As expected, Zhuang Qingyan was right. The existence of Braided Head attracted attention as soon as it was exposed. Yin Xiao sighed in distress. From my personal perspective, I really don't want to conflict with you. While the two conversed, Braided Head turned its head, catching sight of several uniformed figures heading towards the iron gate. They skirted around the front lines and vanished from sight. Braided Head stood up abruptly, a hint of urgency flashing in its eyes. It changed direction and, without a second thought, headed after those few individuals. Hey! Its sudden attempt to escape caught Song Kei off guard. She couldn't grab it, and Braided Head had already charged into the battlefield. Sister, I'll go after her, Shu Xing beside her said and promptly followed Braided Head. Song Kei, neither of them is easy to handle. Yin Xiao chuckled and shrugged, see, even if you protect it, it won't appreciate you. A zombie is a zombie. The door of the floating car swung open, and the Tustan Awakener leaned out and yelled, Yin Xiao, stop flirting around. I'm still waiting to finish up and go back to sleep. You're just fooling around. Can't you do something serious? A wild beauty with deep red curls blowing bubblegum pushed past her teammates, clasped her hands, and flirtatiously whistled, Hey, Captain, can you do it? Get lost. Kill those zombies. Do you guys have to slander your captain like this? I'm still the captain. Yin Xiao turned around, laughed, and scolded a few words, then turned to Song Kei helplessly. Did you hear that? I have no other choice. As he finished speaking, he suddenly flashed past Song Kei, chasing after Braided Head. Sorry, it's an urgent mission. I have to act. Why is he so rude? He didn't even finish speaking before running off? Song Kei began running after him. Yin Xiao moved extremely fast, almost passing through the iron gate. At the critical moment, a hail of bullets suddenly rained down from the direction of the city wall, smashing towards him in the direction he was heading. If he didn't dodge, he would have been smashed into pieces. Yin Xiao timely braked, leaping back, leaving deep marks on the ground with his military boots. He swiftly adjusted his sniper scope, blocking the aftermath of the explosion. The splattered mud quickly dispersed, and he abruptly looked up, only to see a stern-faced man inside the defense walls, coldly staring at him. The man held a machine gun and was about to shoot at him. Yin Xiao recognized the man. They had a chance encounter in the skies over Ferrara, seemingly, not on good terms. Unfortunately, it was mutual. This dislike had no reason, just an intuition stemming from the instincts of male animals. The two locked eyes from a distance, the smell of gunpowder lingering in the air. A ruby earring flashed in the dark night as Yin Xiao brazenly raised two middle fingers at the other. Zhuang Qingyan remained unfazed, tugging at the corner of his mouth, revealing an extremely mocking smile. Just as Yin Xiao furrowed his brows, someone grabbed his collar. A tall figure exceeding 80 kilograms was hoisted up with one hand and was ruthlessly flung backward. His vision spun as Yin Xiao, with his slender figure, twisted midair, landing to maintain balance. When he looked up again, Song Kei's leopard-like agile figure had already leapt away, slashing down nearby zombies, long gone. Some people naturally disliked fragile white flowers, yet they found themselves defenseless against vibrant, thorn-covered iron roses. Yin Xiao was someone who walked a different path. A smirk played at the corner of his mouth, but the next moment, He realized that Song K's throw was exceptionally accurate, landing him amidst a heap of zombies. The zombies emerging from the river, covered in algae and mud, shook their heads, splattering him with a river-scented mess. Quote. Yin Xiao's smile vanished, expressionless as he drew his weapon from the holster on his thigh, efficiently dealing with the zombies. Aren't you going after them? Lu Xiaoyu witnessed the commotion from atop the city wall and kindly reminded Zhuang Qingyan. I can't shoulder or lift anything. Zhuang Qingyan pointed confidently at his legs. Wouldn't I just cause trouble if I went? Zhuang Qingyan thought of something, lips curling into a smile. Don't worry, when our captain gets serious, no one can snatch things from her. Lu Xiaoyu nodded. Oh, then why did you just attack that person like a peacock spreading its feathers? That person is probably top tier A level, and you, in any case, are an S level awakener. Lu Xiaoyu trailed off suddenly. Zhuang Qingyan sneered, finally figured it out? I thought you were so obsessed with shooting that even your intelligence went off with the bullets. Lu Xiaoyu ignored his sarcasm. He suddenly realized that since a while ago, Zhuang Qingyan had only been using firearms and hadn't utilized any supernatural abilities. He initially thought it was out of laziness, but the truth was, he simply hadn't had a chance to use them. Up to this point in the battle, Hyman seemed to have an absolute advantage, yet both waves of zombies on the river and the plains were just ordinary ones. None of the mutant zombies, evolved zombies, or the Zombie King had appeared yet. Where could they have gone? This Zombie King's best tactic is guerrilla tactics, Zhuang Qingyan calmly analyzed. Using food airdrop containers as a cover to send in the fallen, because they have no life signs. Once mixed with the food, it masks even radiation. Most importantly, they can control themselves and not make any noticeable movements. But with such elaborate planning, is its only goal really to have the fallen open 3 iron gates? Since it can adjust tactics based on different abilities, why not organize a surprise attack? If I were it, I definitely wouldn't opt for a straightforward assault. Oh, so you think your good buddy, the Zombie King, would do what? Lu Xiaoyu mocked. First, let other awakeners take the lead and call our people back, Zhuang Qingyan said. I'll go meet this one, an interesting opponent. Inside Hyman City, all the floating screens lit up with official announcements from the municipal hall. The person responsible seemed quite frantic, lacking time to organize the language. Several announcements were bluntly expressed. Residents must heighten vigilance. Zombies have been discovered disguised as humans. Do not trust anyone. Do not engage in conversation with strangers. Do not approach the Iron Gate booths. The booths are laden with explosives. Zombies cannot read text. It's enough that we know in our hearts. Don't speak it out loud. Stay vigilant. Stay vigilant. A person with braided hair sprinted through the crowd, with Xu Xing panting as he chased after. Soon, they reached the outer perimeter of the second line of defense, the back of the commercial street. Braided Head accelerated and intercepted a group of about 30 people. Xu Xing realized something and hid behind a building, holding his breath as he peered sneakily. Braided Head anxiously yelled twice, hoarse, towards the leader of the group. The leader turned, lips moving, seemingly communicating with Braided Head. Xu Xing caught a glimpse of its sinister profile, murky gray eyes, and the zombie-like patterns extending from its chin down its neck. This was a fallen. No, these 30 people. They should all be fallens, the bad faction, mentioned by Braided Head. After pondering for a moment, Xu Xing decided to nickname the leader Dirty Chin. After Dirty Chin finished communicating with Braided Head, it rudely shoved Braided Head aside, as if saying, "Get out of the way." Braided Head stumbled, growing more anxious, and clumsily retrieved something from around its neck that resembled a broken fang, somewhat like a zombie's tooth. As Dirty Chin observed the fang, its initially calm expression turned into rage. It flipped Braided Head over with the butt of its gun, then lifted its foot to stomp on the person's head. Braided Head struggled desperately, her hat and scarf falling off, revealing unmistakable zombie features. Dirty Chin let out an enraged roar from its throat, lowering its head closer to Braided Head's face. Shu Xing was extremely nervous, tightly gripping an ice spike, ready to intervene at any moment. Fortunately, Dirty Chin didn't intend to harm its fellow beings. It reached out and took away Braided Head's pendant, stooped to pick up the hat and scarf, covering the Braided Head's face, then gestured for it to leave. Dirty Chin silently led the fallen deeper into the street. Remembering the direction they disappeared, Shu Xing discreetly recorded a video and shared it in the V587 group chat. "Xiao Xing, where are you?" came Song Kei's voice through the earpiece. "Sister, come quickly, I've made a big discovery." Shu Xing initially wanted to send his location but remembered that his sister couldn't distinguish directions, so he shared both their positions. "I'm on my way," Song Kei replied. After informing Song Kei, Shu Xing jumped off the wall and hurried toward Braided Head, his short legs moving swiftly. Braided Head looked dazed, seeming stunned and dispirited. Shu Xing helped fix its hat and scarf and patted off the dirt. Then, squatting in front of it, he asked, "Are you okay, Braided Head?" Braided Head seemed absent-minded and didn't respond. Shu Xing continued, "What did you say to your bad buddies? Why were they so angry?" Braided Head glanced up, then silently drew something on the ground, a drawing of 3 tightly clustered ghostly symbols. After staring at it for a while, Shu Xing exclaimed in surprise, "Aw? You're saying Dirty Chin is your brother?" Braided Head looked puzzled. Shu Xing struggled to explain, "Dirty Chin. Has a dirty chin, tall." Braided Head understood and protested against Shu Xing's nickname-making behavior with a series of "ahs." "Don't worry about the details," Shu Xing chuckled, brushing it off. "Then what about this one? Is he also your brother?" Braided Head nodded, saying, "Ah." It quickly added a few strokes to the drawing. Shu Xing understood this time. Braided Head had drawn a scene of zombies playing football, and then he got agitated. "It turns out that your brother is the bad guy who took the lead in bullying me last time." Braided Head, where did it go? Did it also come to Hyman?" Shu Xing snorted, deciding not to hold a grudge against them for their past actions. Braided Head quieted down and slowly drew a severed zombie. Following suit, it connected "good brother" to Shu Xing and drew the Zombie King, connecting it to the bad brother. Shu Xing also grew silent, recalling Zhuang Qingyan's cold remarks. He had mentioned that Fallens were a race outside humans and zombies, their characteristics of transformation making them unacceptable to humans. Their retained consciousness prevented them from becoming complete zombies. During the Tungwen outbreak, Braided Head, following its good brother, chose to hide and evade rather than actively attack humans. However, the next day, Braided Head's good brother was mistaken for a zombie by the Awakeners and was killed. The half-body Braided Head had dragged away likely belonged to its brother. Not knowing how to comfort Braided Head, Shu Xing simply sat there with it in silence. Sudden footsteps approached from behind, and Song Kei arrived on the scene. Seeing that they were both unharmed, she sighed with relief. Before she could fully relax, a smoke bomb flew in, exploding as it hit the ground, causing Shu Xing to cough violently, covering his mouth. In the thick smoke, a hand with a fingerless glove lunged aggressively toward Braided Head, intercepted halfway by Song Kei, twisting it in the opposite direction. Yin Xiao fired a shot from his other hand, forcing Song Kei to release her grip. Both took a step back. "As the captain of Tustan, I must take this mutant zombie back to the client." Yin Xiao's expression showed some helplessness. "It's not a zombie, it's a fallen, a new species," Song Kei explained seriously. "New or old, higher-ups want it. You better not intervene." Yin Xiao's nonchalant expression turned serious. "One wrong move, and it'll cause you trouble." Song Kei was taken aback. "More trouble?" Zhuang Qingyan said that, and now Yin Xiao too? Why was Braided Head's existence so important? As the deadlock continued between the two, Shu Xing jumped in. His hands clenched, face red from coughing, and he blurted out unexpectedly, "Why do you have to catch Braided Head? There are so many Fallens here. Can't you just catch the bad ones and be done with it?" Song K. Yin Xiao, huh? So many? Chapter 127. Life and Death Marathon, 18, Doomsday Spiritual Artifact Master. Song Kiki, he grabbed my hand hard. It's said that children's words are without reservation, and Shu Xing's words left the two people opposite him stunned. Yin Xiao's thumb pressed on the outside of the gun body, the calloused index finger hooked the cylinder. With both hands simultaneously maneuvering the gun through a dizzying series of movements, the two slender, Hellcat, pistols were effortlessly returned to their holsters strapped to his thighs, almost as if they were toys. "Kid," Yin Xiao raised his chin, his sharp gaze fixed on Shu Xing, "words carry responsibility. Besides this guy, did you personally witness any other mutant zombies in Hyman?" It was already, Shu Xing swallowed hard, shifted slightly toward Song Ke, the captain of the Tuston team, who had suddenly become imposing, exuding a different aura altogether. "Just over 30 of them passed by just now," Shu Xing muttered under his breath. Braided Head jumped excitedly, emitting a low growl from deep within its throat. "If not your brother, how about catching other bad ones?" Shu Xing whispered to it, "or those who constantly bully you, ones you dislike. Let's kill with a borrowed knife, and take the opportunity to get rid of them." Braided Head hesitated, hands folded together, clearly making a thinking gesture. Given its intelligence, it couldn't understand what "kill with a borrowed knife" meant or handle such complex relationship between zombies. Yin Xiao looked somewhat surprised. "Can this kid communicate with mutant zombies?" Song Ke nodded solemnly, acknowledging that Xiao Xing's talent was indeed quite extraordinary. "Your client specifically asked for you to catch Braided Head?" Song Ke inquired proactively. "Not particularly." Yin Xiao shrugged, hands in his pockets, leaning against the wall casually. He could already anticipate what Song Ke was going to say, as Cho Hong's only request was to capture a mutant zombie. "Oh, in that case, I'll take care of this one, you go catch others." Following his lead, Song Ke flicked open a butterfly knife with her thumb, swiftly spinning it. The sharp blade vibrated like the wings of a butterfly at high frequency, almost grazing against the skin of her fingertips. One wrong move could sever a finger. Song Ke performed a flashy set of maneuvers, then with a click, she sheathed the knife. Then she lifted her head, her eyes shining like stars, calmly gazing back at Yin Xiao, as if to say, "Whatever it is, I can handle it too." Far from feeling threatened, Yin Xiao felt an itching sensation in his mind, as if scratched by a cat's paw. Despite the calm negotiation between the two, neither dared to relax, knowing that any disagreement might lead to another altercation. "If I go after others," Yin Xiao smiled, "Captain Song, will you still intervene?" "Not today," came Song Ke's calm reply. The battle in Hyman had evolved into a bloodbath between zombies and humans. The Fallen, by choosing to open the Iron Gate, had positioned themselves against humanity. They were the culprits behind the current brutal situation, and she had no reason to stop Yin Xiao. A hint of amusement flashed in Yin Xiao's eyes as he nodded slowly. "Then I'll have to put in more effort and change my target." The terminal vibrated, and Song Ke glanced down to see a gathering notification sent by Zhuang Qingyan, not far from their location. "Xiao Xing, let's go," she called to Shu Xing. Shu Xing obediently followed but turned and earnestly advised Braided Head, "Don't wander off this time, it's safer to stay with us." Just a couple of steps away, Song Ke suddenly turned around, noticing Yin Xiao following them step by step. She tilted her head, her eyes clearly saying, "Didn't you say you were going after something else?" Having just sent the message, Yin Xiao, catching her expression, smiled in response, "Captain Song, my intuition has always been accurate. Rather than aimlessly searching for the next mutant zombie within the city, I believe my chances of completing the mission are greater by following you. Before that, you can use me as a helper. Song Ke shook her head. At that moment, she seemed to possess divine wisdom, seeing through Yin Xiao's true intentions. You don't trust us. Yin Xiao hadn't seen any other fallen. If Xu Xing had lied just now, and if Song Ke and he had teamed up to deceive him, if he had believed them and there were no other fallen, he would have fallen into their trap. Therefore, the Yin Xiao would undoubtedly follow them. If there were indeed other fallen, he could fulfill the task. If not, he would still target Braided Head. Better to be cautious, Yin Xiao calmly replied. Zhuang Qingyan and Lu Xiaoyu had been waiting at the gathering point for a while when Lin Yuyu and the other three quickly arrived to join them. The situation outside the city has temporarily stabilized. The zombie tide can't break through, but Haemon's ammunition is depleting rapidly, Lin Yuyu said, her face displaying concern. Yan Biao has requested reinforcements from several nearby sea districts, but we don't know how long they'll take to arrive. The checkpoint in Haemon has yet to appear, Su Cha timely reminded. The checkpoint is related to the Zombie King, Zhuang Qingyan affirmed. As they were discussing, Song Ke and Xu Xing arrived, followed by Braided Head and a familiar young man. What's going on? Who's this? Lin Yuyu asked in surprise. Song Ke sighed and explained to her teammates about the encounter with Yin Xiao. Yin Xiao stood directly in front of Zhuang Qingyan, pondered for a moment, and took the initiative to greet him. I'm Yin Xiao, captain of the Tustan Awakener team from the northern base. Zhuang Qingyan, came Zhuang Qingyan's cold reply. Oh, so you're the Zhuang Qingyan. Yin Xiao's tone carried a meaningful undertone. During Song Ke's conversation with Gao Xiangyang, he had also been present, having heard about 70 to 80% of their chat. In his eyes, the current Zhuang Qingyan was nothing more than a despicable thief who stole genetic information, with suspicion of undergoing plastic surgery to alter appearances. Pleasure to meet you. Yin Xiao's face bore a fake smile as he extended his right hand. Right, Zhuang Qingyan shook his hand. Yin Xiao raised an eyebrow, his grip suddenly tightening to 90% strength. The instantaneous explosive power of a top-notch sniper was not to be underestimated. If it were an ordinary person encountering such terrifying force, their joints would have been crushed. Zhuang Qingyan's joints made a crackling sound. He stayed silent for a moment before turning to complain. Song Kiki, he grabbed my hand hard. Yin Xiao, aren't we having a competition here between men? You're giving up before the match even begins? What happened to your pride? Song Ke walked over, expressionless, and slapped away Yin Xiao's hand, then lifted Zhuang Qingyan's hand to inspect. There was a hint of redness on the back of his hand. Zhuang Qingyan's long lashes drooped down, his left hand resting neatly on his knee, his tightly pursed lips revealing a hint of grievance. His health isn't good. Song Ke glanced at Yin Xiao, her eyes filled with reproach. Don't bully him. Quote ? Yin Xiao chuckled, amused. Having grown up in the northern base receiving elite education, he adhered to the concept of strength is paramount. For the first 26 years of his life, he lived freely and uninhibitedly, utterly ignorant of the tea art culture, from the ancient civilization period, let alone aware of the existence of the rare breed known as the male green tea. Completely unaware of the undercurrents between the two, Song Ke earnestly asked her companions, where do you think the fallen might go? Lin Yuyu contemplated for a moment. Haemon has issued warnings, and all outposts are on high alert. If the fallen try to repeat their old tricks and open the Iron Gate, wouldn't it be too difficult? The Zombie King, what instructions did he give you? Zhuang Qingyan paused, turning to address Braided Head. Braided Head was startled, behaving like a student who hadn't paid attention in class and suddenly got called upon to answer a question. It scratched its head for a while, paced around, hesitated, then finally pointed in a direction, indicating it would lead Song Ke and the others. Let's go and see, Zhuang Qingyan said in a low voice. Be cautious. Braided Head took a few steps, stopped to think, struggled to recall the details it had missed while slacking off, ran a few more steps, and led the group through a series of twists and turns to the outside of the second line of defense, a remote substation. There, it stopped. "Why did you bring us here, Braided Head?" Shu Xing asked curiously. "Ah, ah, 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 ah," Braided Head wailed, its expression conveying a range of emotions, but unfortunately, no one could understand. "Someone's here," Su Cha warned, breaking the silence. Everyone immediately quieted down, focusing on observing the surrounding environment. Su Cha silently pointed in a certain direction, and a few figures dressed in staff uniforms flashed past. Moving slowly, their shoulders swaying uncontrollably, it was another group of fallen. "Chase them," Song K whispered. The group hurriedly followed, passing through layers of high-voltage wires and opening the door to a distribution room. In the pitch-black surroundings, in the quiet air, heavy breathing could faintly be heard. Click! Su Cha turned on the flashlight, and the bright beam illuminated the room, revealing hundreds of level 2 zombies crammed inside. Squeezed into the small room, their dark eyeballs enlarged due to the strong light, they roared and lunged forward in response to the stimulation. "Run!" The 8 of them streamed out, with a horde of zombies hot on their heels. When did there suddenly become so many evolved zombies within Hyman City? Shu Xing spun around the electrical poles, continuously releasing ice shards. Lu Xiaoyu's 6 arms moved in unison, weaving a net-like data flow that flew out. Su Cha protected Lin Yuyu and Fang Jishu, swiftly spreading a green toxic mist. Suddenly, lightning fast, he struck at the neck of a zombie attempting to ambush them from behind. Even Zhuang Qingyan wore a serious expression, mentally attacking the zombies without holding back. Song K manifested a nearly 3-meter-long staff, sweeping through the crowd of hungry, roaring zombies, creating distance between them and the group. Meanwhile, Yin Xiao leapt to the top of the electrical pole, rapidly firing his dual pistols, each shot bursting zombie heads and splattering their brain matter. These were all level 2 zombies, and with V-587's strength, they could handle them given enough time. However, the number of zombies was overwhelming and excessively dense. If they were accidentally injured by the zombies and triggered a secondary radiation mutation, the consequences would be unimaginable. At that moment, several hovercars swiftly approached, their windows lowering as a dozen oil guns extended from within. "Hey, people below, find a place to hide yourselves. Come in." Song K acted quickly, grabbing the electrical pole and transforming it into a massive umbrella, spreading it open. Its 8 umbrella bones formed a tent-like structure, instantly creating a safe zone. The V-587 members quickly took shelter inside, barely any space remaining. The farthest from them, Yin Xiao executed an extreme leap, rolling into the umbrella at the critical moment. He seamlessly blended in with the other 7 members, squished in tightly. He winked at Song K, a playful gesture that carried a certain sense of charm. "How's that?" Zhuang Qingyan remained expressionless as his wheelchair slid forward, accidentally landing on Yin Xiao's military boot. Yin Xiao's expression twisted. "Song K, what's with this guy? How's what?" The gasoline poured down from the sky like a torrential rain, drenching the zombies hidden in the substation thoroughly. The door of the hover car opened, and amidst the fierce air currents, a woman with deep red curls extended her hands. Adorning her fingers were rings resembling green and blue gems, upon closer inspection revealed to be high-grade crystals. With her majestic awakened energy released, flames soared into the sky. With a hiss, a chemical reaction occurred between the gasoline and flames, igniting rapidly. The roaring fire illuminated the entire sky. Those supernatural flames possessed miraculous properties. They wouldn't extinguish unless burnt completely. 8 people, including Song K, huddled under the protection of a spiritual umbrella. The scorching temperature nearly seared their skin, but Song K's stable mental strength prevented any disturbance despite the wails of the zombies, leaving the umbrella unaffected. After a good 15 minutes, most of the level 2 zombies were burnt to death, and the remaining ones scattered and fled. Song K retracted the umbrella, and the group emerged, their faces covered in soot from the thick smoke. The woman in the floating car whistled ambiguously towards Yin Xiao. "Hey, Captain, looks like even you have days like this. Need me to come to your rescue?" Yin Xiao retorted angrily. "Shut up, Jennifer. Even if I'm in a slump, I'm still your father." Jennifer scoffed. "I don't have such an incompetent father like you." "Stop arguing. Did you catch the mutated zombies? I want to go back to sleep." "Stop wasting time, hurry up and search." Members of the Tuston team jumped down, joining Yin Xiao in pursuing the fallen. The smoke-filled substation now had only the 7 members of V-587 remaining. Zhuang Qingyan bent down, picking up a fragment of a damaged metallic object from the ashes, examining it closely. "What's this?" Song K picked up a similar piece. "I've got one too," Fang Jishu said. They searched around and found that this kind of thing was scattered all over the substation. Zhuang Qingyan asked in a low voice, "Have any of you noticed any changes in your bodies?" Lin Yuyu pondered for a moment. "It seems like my awakened energy has become more abundant." Xu Xing spread his palm, instantly conjuring ice blades, showing adeptness in employing his awakened ability. Zhuang Qingyan's face grew serious. The radiation intensity here is several times higher than in other areas. Currently, Hymen has become a huge chaotic magnetic field, capable of triggering the explosion of awakened energy. It relies on these things, super magnets. The object in Zhuang Qingyan's hand was rough, filled with assembled charges, some unidentifiable magnetic substances, and a mix of scattered awakened energy. Magnets? Lin Yuyu immediately thought of a possibility. Could the Zombie King be planning to disrupt the power grid and render the high-voltage network ineffective? Not feasible. "Do you all know how many substations are in Hymen?" Zhuang Qingyan asked. Everyone shook their heads. How would they have such information? Zhuang Qingyan slightly parted his lips and revealed a staggering number, 1,130. To attempt to destroy all substations in a short time is a completely futile endeavor. Hymen always keeps reserve power. The Zombie King's goal should be to create an artificial magnetic pole. They don't need to destroy, they just need to make some alterations. By filling the substations with super magnets, Hymen will become an artificial magnetic pole in the Eastern Alliance. Strictly speaking, it's not an artificial magnetic pole. It should be called, made by undead. Lu Xiaoyu unexpectedly cracked a dark joke, but unfortunately, no one found it amusing at this moment. All wore grave expressions. Song K's gaze wandered, struggling to keep up with the discussion. She couldn't quite comprehend it, but mimicking Lin Yuyu and the others, she earnestly nodded along. Zhuang Qingyan smiled faintly, choosing not to expose her confusion, and explained in a more straightforward and understandable manner. After the apocalypse, the Alliance's terrestrial magnetic field was already unstable. If the super magnets in Hymen exceed a certain quantity, forming an artificial magnetic pole, it will conflict with the existing poles, causing a magnetic pole reversal. During this period, the magnetic field above Hymen will completely disappear, exposing it to solar particle storms that will recklessly bombard human bodies, attracting more and more zombies to gather. Once all electromagnetic signals fail, Hymen will become an isolated city. Even with reinforcements, they won't be able to locate it. Song K suddenly comprehended, but her heart sank. If Hymen became isolated, it meant that reinforcements wouldn't arrive, rendering the current defense of Hymen meaningless. "The Zombie King is too terrifying," Lin Yuyu murmured. Its intelligence, strategy, and vision had surpassed that of ordinary humans long ago. Faced with such a formidable opponent, did they really have a way to kill it? "I have a question. How can evolved zombies appear in the inner city?" Fang Jishu asked. "Because they have spatial-type mutant zombies," Zhuang Qingyan said solemnly. "These fallen ones aren't just spies, they're also anchors. The Zombie King uses their positions as coordinates to covertly teleport elite forces. V-587 had encountered the power of spatial-type awakeners in New City. Scarface and the Thin Man had been a great help in assassinating Nai Kong. They hadn't expected zombies to possess such abilities and be used by the Zombie King for covert actions. The Zombie King probably has already entered Hyman, Zhuang Qingyun revealed the harsh reality. As if a prophecy, almost the instant his words fell, the second iron gate emitted a sharp noise of destruction. Accompanying this sound were the panicked screams of Hyman residents. The chaos spread to the inner city. "We need to find the Zombie King as soon as possible," Song K said, "Kill him and stop everything." Prey caught a message suddenly popped up in the internal chat channel. Looking at the avatar, it was from Yin Xiao. The next second, his clear voice sounded. "Oh, looks like you still have to rely on me, the captain." The members of the Tuston team fell silent for a moment, cursing intermittently. "Yin Xiao. Are you deliberately messing with us? I've caught one here. Do you still need more? As a captain, you should have the spirit of selfless dedication. Can you go on missions by yourself in the future and share the commission money equally with us?" I'm so sleepy." Heading back, Jennifer elegantly toyed with a cluster of flames at her fingertips. After reading the chat messages, she smiled brightly. "All right, it's time to wrap up and go back for a vacation." Suddenly, she caught an extremely subtle awakened energy wave, almost like a gentle breeze brushing past her ears. Jennifer swiftly turned around, finding nothing behind her. An illusion? But Jennifer wasn't someone to take things lightly. She had undergone countless life and death experiences, honing her intuition for danger, trusting her sharp senses implicitly. Jennifer pretended to turn her head back and continued walking forward, quietly touching her crystal ring with her fingertips. A faint sound of saliva dripping onto the ground made Jennifer swiftly turn around. Flames spiraled out, illuminating the attacker. Enormous claws intercepted the burst of flames, the rotting flesh sizzling and burning, emitting an unquenchable stench. A normal zombie or a level 2 zombie would have already been howling in agony, but this monster seemed impervious to pain. Its massive body shook off the scorching, emerging from the shadows. Jennifer's pupils contracted sharply. This was a level 3 zombie. Everyone has strengths and weaknesses, and Jennifer excelled in wide-range attack with her abilities. However, in close combat, she ranked at the bottom within the team, never surpassing the second to last. With an accurate assessment of her own abilities, Jennifer turned and ran, screaming at the top of her lungs, "Yin Xiao, you darned jerk. Dad, come save your daughter." The level 3 zombie roared furiously, its claws pounding the ground, hot on her heels. "Lower your hostility, lower your stance, tonight, her figure has already gone far away." At this critical moment, an ethereal singing voice resounded. Suddenly, the movements of the level 3 zombie slowed down, its head involuntarily drooping, losing track of Jennifer. Subsequently, a ghostly figure leapt into the air, stepping on its head, thrusting a dagger into its shoulder blades. Poisonous mist erupted, the zombie wailing continuously as its decaying flesh fell off. Coincidentally passing by, Lin Yu took advantage of the situation and rapped swiftly, "I don't care if you believe it or not, can't block the rainwater invading your brain. Even if you try hard enough, when you meet me, you're left with nothing but a doomed life." As she recited her lyrics, Su Cha's speed surged several times over. His forearm muscles tensed to the extreme, and his dagger whirled out, hitting the level 3 zombie's eye dead on. Seizing the moment of its howling, Su Cha jumped forward, delivering a powerful kick, akin to crushed stones, denting the weakest part of the level 3 zombie's skull. Then, with a reverse grip on the knife, he relentlessly stabbed its neck. After a dozen consecutive strikes, Su Cha pulled the dagger from the eye socket, a toxic mist enveloping the blade's edge. He made a heavy slash at the crack. Snap! The entire head of the level 3 zombie was severed and flung away, blood and putrid flesh spraying like a fountain. Sucha somersaulted backward, landing on the ground, and slowly stood up. With the help of explosion of awakened energy, his strength had reached a level where he could single-handedly kill a level 3 zombie. Wow, so cool, Jennifer sighed melodically, her eyes almost twinkling. She rushed over, her deep red curls carrying a fragrant breeze, and lunged at Sucha. Sucha's pupils quivered. He took a step back, then watched in disbelief as Jennifer leapt past him. Thud, Jennifer pressed Lin Yu against the wall, her hand placed firmly, assuming a standard romantic Tibetan pose. Then, she slowly lowered her head, her red lips almost touching Lin Yu's, their hair intertwining, so close they could feel each other's breath. In a captivating, enchanting voice, she said, "Hi, Savior, how about exchanging contact information? I'm Jennifer, 177 centimeters tall, measurements 81.58.90, and in good health with no bad habits. If you don't have a boyfriend or girlfriend, could you consider me?" Even Lin Yu, who was used to storms and tempests, was left stunned. Sucha, splattered with blood, held the dagger pulled from the level 3 zombie's head, silent and speechless. "I am your father. It's more like establishing the hierarchy kill with a borrowed knife. The idea is to cause damage to the enemy via a third party." Chapter 128. Life and Death Marathon, 19, Doomsday Spiritual Artifact Master. Dirty Chin. Please call me Urwazi. Song K originally thought that finding the Zombie King within the vast inner city of Hyman would take quite some effort. The reality was that as V-587 just approached the second iron gate amidst the chaotic crowd, it appeared in front of everyone. Yes, in front of everyone. An evacuee from Hyman, by chance, glanced up and witnessed a scene that terrified him to the core. Trembling, his hand pointed incredulously upwards. "Quick, look. What is that?" Everyone followed where he was pointing at and immediately erupted into a chorus of screams. Under the dismal moonlight obscured by dark clouds, a deformed monster was climbing the television tower. Its speed wasn't particularly fast. Its 4 massive claws methodically dug into the steel structure. The well-developed leg muscles moved rhythmically, displaying an inexplicable ease as it climbed. Upon reaching the top, it grabbed the lightning rod with one hand, flipped over the railing, and unfurled its fleshy wings behind. It sat there like a king on a throne, overlooking its future kingdom with a disdainful posture. In the dark alleys, evolved zombies and mutant zombies kept teleporting through anchor points. Though their numbers were scant compared to the horde outside the city, the panic they caused was akin to a nuclear explosion. With attacks from both inside and outside, the first 2 defense lines of Hyman were thoroughly breached, leaving only the inner city on the brink of collapse. Meanwhile, all the Awakeners in the Eastern Alliance received the same S-rank commission. The Alliance Awakener headquarters issues an urgent announcement. Hyman, District D-135, is facing a large-scale organized wave of continuous zombies led by a level 4 zombie. All Awakeners in various districts are requested to immediately provide support. This commission is designated as a Red Commission. Killing zombies within the specified time limit will earn double points and Alliance currency rewards. A steamship swiftly approached the television tower, and from the painted markings on its body, they were participants from the throne race competition. 2 Awakeners secured by safety ropes slid down, shouting loudly, "Goodbye to you. The championship belongs to us." Particle guns relentlessly fired at the Zombie King, sparking clang clang sounds as the attacks splattered. The Zombie King promptly folded its wings tightly around its small head, appearing from a distance like an uneven egg, deflecting all attacks on its outer skin. After the first wave of firepower, the Zombie King exerted force from its hind legs, roaring as it stood upright. Its fleshy wings expanded, astonishingly lifting it off the ground. Its wing, steel-like, struck the steamship, causing it to lose control, spin, and fly out in reverse. Then, its sharp claws gripped the front cabin. No, No, shouted the terrified pilot inside the cockpit. Roar! The zombie king's two claws violently pierced through the steamship in an instant. It landed again, seizing two swaying awakeners, swiftly snapping their safety ropes, and ferociously devouring them. Blood and flesh splattered around as the bone-chilling sound of gnawing bones echoed. Fools, too careless, sighed Zhuang Qingyan, who had witnessed the entire ordeal. Even without direct confrontation with the zombie king, the commission notice was crystal clear. Not only was it an outstanding battlefield commander, but also an unequivocal level 4 zombie. V-587 finally squeezed through the iron gate, dashing towards the direction of the television tower. The residents of Hyman gradually faltered, more and more civilians falling. They could handle ordinary zombies, but when facing radiation-enhanced mutant zombies and evolved zombies, even with all their might, their chances of victory seemed incredibly slim. The bodyguards around Wang Hu had all perished. His gold necklace was smeared with blood, his once sleek mink now tattered. Leaning on a spiritual weapon, a long sword, he barely stood, panting heavily while confronting 5 or 6 level 2 zombies. His vision covered in crimson, Wang Hu didn't know how many zombies or surviving Hyman residents were around. His muscles ached, incapable of lifting the sword any longer. Wang Hu chuckled, glaring at the monster before him, cursing fiercely, "Look at how bad you are, you hill cannon." The level 2 zombies, with low intelligence, were provoked by his taunts and viciously lunged at him. At the brink of death, Wang Hu silently thought, "Thank goodness my wife and kids are in the basement of the villa, with enough supplies stocked." A graceful figure leapt over his head, black hair flying backward at shoulder level. In the person's hand, a deep blue curved blade formed a crescent shape, brushing past the level 2 zombie. The zombie couldn't even attempt to bite before its neck was cleanly sliced. A mix of black and red putrid blood sprayed out, leaving an empty space in front of Wang Hu. The zombies fiercely attacking him swayed and collapsed. Song Ke, who had sold him the spiritual weapon, appeared like a deity descending, stepping on zombie heads and shoulders, creating waves of bloodshed as the blade swung. Amidst the chaos, Song Ke gestured a direction to Wang Hu, "Go there, run." In front of the emergency passage of the 3rd Defense Line, Municipal Hall staff shouted hoarsely, "Quick, civilians, enter the safe zone." Awakeners from Hyman rushed in from outside the city, clearing an evacuation path and safeguarding civilians. To prevent any traitors, everyone voluntarily exposed their features, facilitating inspection. Exhausted, Wang Hu held onto his precious spiritual weapon, pushed along by those behind him, following the crowd, smoothly entering the safe zone. The near-death experience left his mind blank until much later when Wang Hu suddenly realized, damn, buyer shows and seller shows are really not the same. Meanwhile, the zombie king at the top of the television tower suddenly disappeared. Elsewhere, within a substation, Dirty Chin in sentinel uniform arrived at their destination. Despite the shrill alarms sounding continuously, they remained seemingly oblivious. Vigilantly surveying their surroundings, a hoarse sound emanated from their throat. Dozens of fallen followed suit, emerging and swiftly clearing the area with machine gun fire on the personnel. Despite their appearance, they operated like a disciplined sentinel force. Dirty Chin led their counterparts, placing super magnets in every nook and cranny of the substation, causing the radiation levels to quickly exceed safety standards. They waited quietly in place for a few seconds. Suddenly, the fallen beside Dirty Chin began emitting a dark glow all over their body. Black whirlpools appeared beneath their feet, intense awakened energy fluctuations in the air. Gradually, gruesome level 3 zombies emerged one after another. Roar! These creatures' nature was sheer carnage. Just as they landed, they followed the scent of fresh blood and dashed wildly towards the streets. The skin of the fallen anchoring the portal turned crimson, their body uncontrollably swelling like an inflated balloon. Then, with a shudder, their blood vessels burst, exploding into a pile of flesh with a bang, slowly collapsing. However, the whirlpool didn't stop. The zombies continued to be incessantly transported, stepping on the corpse. "Ah!" the remaining fallen exclaimed in bewilderment. Dirty Chin didn't expect such an incident to occur. It visibly paused, but quickly grasped something, its expression turning grim. The capacity of the anchor point was limited, and the number of fallen was far from enough to transport all the elite zombies. If an anchor point could hold 40 zombies and now forcibly stuffed in 100, the elites were sent in, but the fallen, as hosts, met only the fate of self-destructive explosion. The Zombie King was cunning and arrogant, treating all zombies as pawns, disposable at any moment. After all, they lacked consciousness, being merely manipulated. However, Dirty Chin knew that the fallen were different from zombies. They were willing to follow the Zombie King not because they wanted to but because they didn't want to associate with dirty humans. They aimed to build their own homeland for a free life, not to sacrifice themselves in vain. As this realization struck Dirty Chin, it emitted an angry roar from its throat. The Zombie King had deceived them. "Ah, ah, ah!" Dirty Chin grew increasingly furious, howling loudly. It wasn't like Braided Head, clueless about the mission details. It knew the Zombie King's plan inside out. After calming down, Dirty Chin almost immediately decided to turn against them. It issued commands, leading its kind to dismantle the super magnets. It was due to these items' existence that the spatial zombies could exceed their limits and transport 100 elites. If they lost the support of the super magnets, the anchor point could revert to its original capacity, sparing its kind from further deaths. The release of abilities had a certain interval. As long as they acted fast enough, they could disrupt the rhythm of the spatial zombies. The Zombie King at the top of the TV tower quickly noticed something amiss. The speed at which its elites came in slowed down, and their numbers dwindled significantly. Ultimately, it was because the super magnets were rapidly decreasing, and Hyman didn't become the new magnetic pole as it had anticipated. The Zombie King's front claws bent the railing, its sinister gaze fixed in a certain direction. Descending from the TV tower, it swiftly crossed the rooftops, chasing after that group of disruptors. With a loud bang, the Zombie King descended from the sky, landing in front of Dirty Chin and the other fallen, hoarsely issuing a string of low commands. "Ah!" Roar, roar, roar. Dirty Chin's face revealed fierceness, not only refusing to comply but also aiming its gun at the Zombie King. Behind, another fallen exploded due to the strain caused by the anchor point. This time, all the elites that emerged were mutant zombies. Dirty Chin keenly noticed that among them was the spatial one. Perhaps itself or maybe the Zombie King realized something was wrong and, taking the last chance, transported itself first. Under the control of the Zombie King, this group of mutant zombies didn't immediately disperse. Instead, they surrounded Dirty Chin. The Zombie King's eyes glinted with murderous intent as all the mutant zombies lunged at Dirty Chin, attempting to tear it apart. TN buyer shows and seller shows. Buyer shows is the picture sent by the customer after buying a certain product. Seller shows is a picture of a merchant's product. It's like models wearing the item versus customers wearing the item. Braided Head, where are you taking us again? Shu Xing's clear voice inquired. Song K and the others had originally been heading towards the TV tower. However, they lost track of the Zombie King midway. Without a better plan in mind, Braided Head was making noises and volunteered to guide them. Braided Head rested its chin on its hand, pondering for 2 seconds, then suddenly sensed a familiar aura. It was like a struggling student unexpectedly finding cheat notes during an exam. Its eyes brightened up instantly, excitedly making noises and darting down a side path. "Hey, should we really follow it? Is Braided Head reliable?" Lin Yu looked skeptical. "Braided Head won't deceive us." Shu Xing crossed his arms confidently. Lin Yu was speechless. Where did this inexplicable trust between a person and a zombie come from? However, Song K intervened, saying, "Let's go and see." So, just before Dirty Chin and the other fallen were about to be overwhelmed, Braided Head, with V-587 in tow, coincidentally arrived at the scene. Song K spotted the Zombie King and thought, "Wow, Braided Head is really awesome. What a big fish." Bang! She leapt from the rooftop, landing at the center of the battle, kicking up clouds of dust. But upon seeing the scene in front of her, she became somewhat stunned. What's going on? It looks like they're already fighting? Song K, they're fighting among themselves. Zhuang Qingyan discerned the situation at a glance and shouted aloud. Though the idea of zombies fighting among themselves seemed far-fetched, it presented an excellent opportunity for V-587. Song K's spirits lifted, and together with Su Cha, they attacked. With the Zombie King isolated and surrounded only by several dozen mutant zombies, Song K was confident they could defeat it. Braided Head swiftly ran up to Dirty Chin, frantically making noises around it in agitation. Dirty Chin appeared heavily injured, with a deep gash across its body. Despite Braided Head's concern, Dirty Chin couldn't care less and emitted several short, urgent commands. The remaining fallen rushed toward the spatial zombie hiding in the back. Thick fog arose, blades spun, and Lin Yu initiated her sole attack, the Mist Blade. Confused about the situation, Xu Xing froze the place in ice and snow. He asked in a bewildered tone, "Braided Head, what's happening? Why is your brother at odds with the Zombie King?" Braided Head didn't have time to explain by drawing pictures slowly. Its stiff hands pressed against Dirty Chin's wound, growling in distress. Braided Head, "Aw, Dirty Chin, aw." Braided Head shook Dirty Chin's shoulders. "Aw." Dirty Chin started coughing violently. "Aw." Braided Head immediately stopped, not daring to move recklessly. Just then, a faint dark light appeared at Dirty Chin's feet, growing brighter, enveloping its entire body. Soon after, a black vortex formed, and one by one, level 3 zombies crawled out from it. Braided Head looked at Dirty Chin dazedly, surrounded by an unsettling premonition. As if foreseeing something, Dirty Chin retrieved a pendant from its pocket, awkwardly put it back around Braided Head's neck, then, gently patted its head. Murky tears streamed down Braided Head's hollow eye sockets, dropping one after another onto the ground. "Aw." Braided Head screamed in disbelief. "Aw." Almost simultaneously, there was a sudden roar from the fallen behind. Braided Head swiftly turned around to see two of its kind biting onto a hiding mutant zombie, emitting clear radiation fluctuations. Spatial, transmission, mission? As if struck by lightning, Braided Head had a sudden epiphany. All the missed details flooded back into its mind. Baring its sharp teeth, it angrily charged forward. Kill it, kill it. That was the only thought in its mind. Braided Head, don't run around. The situation on the scene changed rapidly, and Xu Xing, still confused about why Braided Head, who had been fine, was displaying such aggression, dashed toward the direction of the Zombie King. What was happening? Was it also becoming erratic? Amidst the spatial zombies' panic, unexpectedly displaying humanoid intelligence, attempting to escape, Braided Head unleashed an astonishing burst of combat strength, biting down on its neck. As more and more level 3 zombies appeared, Lu Xiaoyu raised his hand, and the 101,010 code flew out. A deep red crosshair mark struck the head of the spatial zombie Braided Head was attacking. Marked the spatial zombie. Let's kill it first, Zhuang Qingyan reminded in time. This time, Xu Xing finally understood. Braided Head was helping them kill the zombies. Song K and Su Cha changed their attack targets, striking toward the spatial zombie. The Zombie King evidently understood the importance of the spatial zombie. Its black blood vessels squirmed rapidly, and its fleshy wings struck Braided Head forcefully. Braided Head grunted but surprisingly wasn't thrown off. It bit ruthlessly, severing half the head of the spatial zombie, yet it remained alive. The Zombie King, in a fit of rage, charged forward, slashing at Song K, affected by Su Cha's toxic mist. Its sharp claws pierced Braided Head's back, tearing it away. With a pull, braided head was ripped in two from the right shoulder to the thigh and flung heavily. No, braided head, Shu Xing cried out with tears in his eyes. Dirty chin lying on the ground swelled, its murky eyes bulging, emitting faint sobs from its throat. Braided head's body flew backward in a Y shape, landing on the ground motionless. The remaining level 3 zombies rushed to assist while the zombie king prepared to retreat. Braided head, Shu Xing's tears fell uncontrollably. The intense radiation made his internal magnetic field extremely unstable. His awakened energy crackled like an out-of-control silver snake, making static-like sounds. Coupled with the heightened emotions, Shu Xing once again experienced the uncontrollable manifestation of Fool's Wharf. His curly hair fluffed up, the unstable blizzard around him gathered into fine, dense needle-like forms, pouring out in front. These empowered ice needles dominated the entire space, leaving no room for escape. The power of wide-range attack abilities was unquestionably showcased in the narrow alley. V-587 and the others turned in shock to look at Shu Xing. This was a level awakened energy. Xiao Xing had broken through. A torrent of ice needles pierced the severed neck of the spatial zombie, instantly freezing its head. With a final thud, the already weakened head collapsed, and the black vortex instantly halted. Dirty Chin's body stopped swelling and slowly returned to normal. The Zombie King attempted its usual tactic, wrapping its fleshy wings tightly around itself. However, despite the minuscule size, the power of those ice needles remained unabated. They quickly froze its wings, rendering them too heavy to lift. Song Kei's gaze sharpened as a sharp bone-cutting knife materialized. Grandpa used to say this knife was great for chopping chicken wings. "Cover me," she yelled and charged toward the Zombie King. Su Cha abruptly turned, confronting the level 3 zombies and mutant zombies that had been teleported. Song Kei leapt onto the rooftop, wielding her blade towards the Zombie King's wings. The Zombie King emitted a deafening roar, shattering the entire 4-story building. Concrete and debris rained down, but Lu Xiaoyu's 6 mechanical arms extended, forming a basket shape, catching all the falling debris. Ding! Like a missile, Song Kei rammed the Zombie King into the rubble, brandishing her bone-cutting knife. In a swift motion, she chopped at the frozen, brittle flesh, displaying the posture of chopping ribs. In just a few seconds, she had hacked off more than 30 slashes, cleanly severing the half-clawed section of its wing. The Zombie King writhed in agony, rolling around, yet it managed to conceal its head. As Song Kei prepared to swiftly continue chopping the other wing, a sudden change occurred. The Zombie King disappeared from her sight. She was startled. Another spatial ability? No. Song Kei swiftly turned around. Xiao Xing had already taken down the spatial zombie, leaving it thoroughly dead. She sprang up from the rubble. 5 seconds later, the Zombie King, looking bedraggled, reappeared 100 meters away, causing a parked bus by the roadside to collapse under its weight. On a distant rooftop, a ghostly figure emerged from the black mist. Song Kei glimpsed countless empowered beings and a stern-faced elderly man. Spatial displacement. Mr. Shangxing Tea House. Why did they want to save the Zombie King? Were they crazy? She almost managed to take down that monster just now. The Zombie King reacted swiftly, jumping multiple times, disappearing in V-587's view. The people from Shangxing Tea House quickly followed. Zhuang Qingyan sighed softly. "I said it before, humans are always selfish." Song Kei tightened her grip on the knife handle, understanding now. Personally, killing the Zombie King was the sole condition for victory. So, Mr. Shang let the Zombie King go, regardless of the consequences, to deny her that chance. "Hey, stop chatting and think of a solution quickly." Lin Yuyu, shielded by the dense ice needles, huddled behind Lu Xiaoyu. "Make Xiao Xing stop." No matter how much she called out, Shu Xing seemed oblivious, eyes tightly shut, his awakened energy surging madly. "At this rate, we're all going to freeze." The blizzard's range expanded, turning the fallen into ice sculptures. Lin Yuyu and Fang Jishu shivered uncontrollably. It was only now that Song Ke felt the bone-chilling cold. Rubbing her reddened fingers together, she slowly retreated under pressure. Finally arriving behind Xu Xing, she was about to strike at his exposed neck but hesitated, opting instead to give him a firm shake. Xiao Xing, wake up! Xu Xing, dazed from the blow, finally regained control, retracting his powers. The ice needles and blizzard dissipated. Xu Xing staggered toward Braided Head's almost severed body, crying inconsolably. Don't die, Braided Head. I'm so useless, I couldn't protect you. In the midst of his tears, he suddenly turned to Fang Jishu. Uncle Fang, please save Braided Head. I won't tease you anymore, won't secretly freeze your shoes, or use your shaver on Tao Tao's fur. Fang Jishu, you did what with my shaver? Xu Xing, sobbing, pleaded desperately, please, Uncle Fang. Under the condemning gazes of everyone, Fang Jishu struggled to respond, me? Having been a doctor for half his life, he was adept at saving lives, but rescuing a zombie? He really had no experience with that. Tian or was he? Traitor within an organization, usually a criminal organization, spy, informant, mole. Chapter 129. Life and Death Marathon, 20. Doomsday Spiritual Artifact Master. The champion is born. Xu Xing's personality, described in 4 words, was defying the heavens and earth, creating a sharp contrast with his fluffy and cute appearance. Among the members of V587, except for Song Ke, he didn't respect anyone else. He kept a private notebook recording a most disliked people ranking list, adjusting the rankings according to the situation. The top spot constantly switched between Zhuang Qingyan and Lin Yuyu. Fang Jishu had known him for quite some time, but when had he seen him so weak, even calling him Uncle Fang? This little rascal was usually so arrogant, always addressing him as lazy old man. Well, then, I'll give it a try. Fang Jishu couldn't bring himself to say more. He squatted down to observe Braided Head. No breath, no heartbeat. However, the fallen didn't have a breath either. The shoulder tear was severe, the blood at the severed limbs had coagulated. Yet, the internal organ tissues were half rotten, half fresh, completely beyond ordinary understanding. Such injuries, if on a human, even an awakener, he could only say, sorry, please accept my condolences. But if it were a zombie, those creatures, even missing limbs, could still bounce around. Fang Jishu felt a headache, sensing it was his biggest challenge since he began this profession. He gritted his teeth, deciding to try something unconventional, injecting the shimmering white healing ability into Braided Head, only to find it was absorbed. The patient can't move, so treatment must be done on the spot. Fang Jishu was taken aback but quickly thought, if the ability worked, then the tragic condition of Braided Head might not be beyond help. Perhaps by bonding blood vessels and nerves, fixing the severed limbs and fractures with steel nails, then suturing skin and muscle, theoretically, it might work. Fang Jishu's expression became focused, silently taking equipment out of his backpack, entering a surgical state. Lin Yuyu tapped Xu Xing's forehead, softly saying, hey, stop crying, looks like there's hope. Song Ke wiped the tears from Xu Xing's face, who resembled a crying kitten. Let old Fang handle this, let's go after the zombie king, Zhuang Qingyan suggested. Is it safe for him alone? Song Ke was somewhat worried. Quick, look, what are they about to do? Lin Yuyu suddenly exclaimed. The remaining fallen silently closed in, their murky eyes particularly eerie in the dark alleyway. Song Ke wielded his knife defensively, uncertain of the intentions of these fallen toward them, whether they were friends or foes. Xu Xing choked out, it's okay, Dirty Chin is, the brother of Braided Head. Confronted by V587's preparedness, Dirty Chin gave them a cold glance, picking up a gun from the ground, aiming it outward. They encircled Fang Jishu and Braided Head, taking on a protective stance. Zhuang Qingyan also understood their intent. Let's go. No need to worry. Old Fang is safe here. Fang Jishu had a unique constitution. Without orders from the Zombie King, ordinary zombies and evolved zombies wouldn't attack him. While he treated Braided Head, his concern was only the humans, but with the Fallen guarding, this issue was somewhat resolved. Old Fang, keep in touch. Call if anything comes up, Song K instructed, hesitating before turning. Xiao Xing, you. I'm going too. Xu Xing wiped away his tears, knowing staying wouldn't be helpful, taking the initiative to speak up. After some delay, V-587 headed towards the direction where the Zombie King had disappeared. The civilians in Hyman had retreated to the sheltered area within the third defense line. Outside, it was either evolved zombies or awakeners wandering about. Song K slashed down a few level 2 zombies attempting to grab her ankles, feeling that the situation was deteriorating rapidly. The streets and alleys were overrun by a sea of zombies. The spatial type zombie is dead, the anchor point has failed. Unless they have another one, the escape route for the Zombie King has been cut off, Zhuang Qingyan said, switching to incendiary bombs, the scythe erupting with fiery tongues, forcing back the surging horde. Considering how fiercely it protected itself just now, I lean toward that spatial type zombie being the only one, Lu Xiaoyu said. Zhuang Qingyan nodded. That's good news for us, but we need to be cautious. Its counterattack will only get fiercer. Making a basic mistake like being separated, I don't think it will make the same one twice. Su Cha smashed a window of a 6-seater commercial vehicle, hunched down, jumped into the driver's seat, revved the engine, and swiftly turned around. Lu Xiaoyu, you drive. After shouting, he grabbed an assault rifle, climbed onto the roof, firing rapidly as shells scattered, barely clearing a path. The group quickly jumped into the car, efficiently closing windows and locking doors. Lu Xiaoyu floored the accelerator, showcasing wild driving skills as the commercial vehicle swerved and plowed through, engulfing the approaching zombies beneath it. Zhuang Qingyan grabbed the handle, asking, "Does Yan Biao know about the super magnet?" Lin Yuyu's voice shifted due to the speed. He knows. He already sent sentries to dismantle the perimeter. Slow down. But there are still 157 within the defense line. Zhuang Qingyan's expression turned serious. Just in case, it's best for the people of Hyman to check themselves. To disseminate the message to all the people in Hyman, only the hacker, Lu Xiaoyu, could manage it. Don't look at me, no equipment. Lu Xiaoyu shouted while driving. The terminal broke during the fight. Zhuang Qingyan pulled out a shabby, outdated terminal from somewhere and forcefully thrust it into his arms. Use this. Don't tell me you can't do it. 5.0? Lu Xiaoyu hesitated. If I'm not allowed to buy rhenium blocks, can I request a new type of terminal? Lu Xiaoyu pressed the horn discontentedly. I refuse to use this senior citizen terminal. Beep beep. The noise attracted the horde, causing them to turn and lunge forward. Desiccated hands shattered the side window, wildly reaching inside the car. I'll buy it for you. Song K shattered a zombie's head with a knife, but unfortunately, the putrid black matter splattered on her face. The stench made her retch, and Lin Yuyu sympathetically handed her a tissue. With a nod from the team leader, Lu Xiaoyu finally felt content. The ice blue eyes shimmered strangely as his fingertips swiftly typed in code on the terminal. On the phones, TVs, screens, and projections of all the people in Hyman, a new announcement appeared. Good evening, people of Hyman. I am a great hacker who is about to save you. Here's an important message interrupting your routine. This thing is called a super magnet. Have you all seen it clearly? If you want to stay alive, hurry to the substation near you and dismantle it. In this race against time, Lu Xiaoyu not only hacked into the system to deliver a spiel but also effortlessly created a model. The lifelike super magnet was presented from multiple angles, exhibiting every detail vividly in front of everyone's eyes. Have you found where the Zombie King is? Lin Yuyu shouted against the car's back. Zhuang Qingyan hesitated for a moment, then, opened the screen and calmly entered the live broadcast of Shengxing Tea House, starting to peek at the screen. Lin Yu. 6 inches, he even casually explained. This is the fastest way. How do you think Mr. Shang abducted the Zombie King? A shameless person like him probably spends 24 hours spying on all the participants' live broadcasts. This is tit for tat. The people in the car fell silent. To say or not to say, Zhuang Qingyan's audacity was truly something. Found it. Zhuang Qingyan pressed pause, zooming in on the screen, swiftly pinpointing the corresponding location based on landmark buildings. Music Square, hurry and follow. At the same time, Tuston tossed the captured 2 fallen into the floating car. These 2 mutated zombies showed their ferocity, their eyes filled with malice, constantly gnashing their teeth and howling, attempting to bite the restraining rings on their bodies. Bang! Yin Xiao accurately shattered their fangs with the Hellcat pistol, finally quieting them down. He muttered under his breath, that little brat was right. This thing really has its good and bad factions. Compared to the calm braided head, these 2 in front of him were downright vicious. Captain, the mission is overfulfilled. Can we head back now? A team member urged cheerfully. You all go back first. Leave me with 2 cars. Yin Xiao flashed a bright smile. I have some personal matters to take care of. These 2 mutated zombies were caught thanks to Song Kei's blessing, but he hadn't fulfilled his promise of not suffering a loss yet. Yin Xiao picked a few submachine guns from the armory, tore open the tab on an energy drink with one hand, and took a gulp. As he opened the car door, about to step out, a pair of slender hands tightly gripped his thigh, a sparkling crystal ring gleaming on the fingertip. Daddy, where are you going? Please take me with you. Jennifer, wasn't it you who was pestering to go back for a beauty sleep? Why aren't you leaving now? Others teased. What do you know? Jennifer turned back angrily and then clasped her hands, her expression dreamy. I've fallen in love again. What? I've developed a crush on a girl from V587. Oh, she is so lovely. Heaved. Yin Xiao sprayed out the drink, coughing violently. Daughter, this isn't acceptable. You, liking the same person as your father, saying it out loud is utterly against morality and ethics. It's the degradation of humanity. Jennifer rolled her eyes at him. Don't worry, I'm not into that kind of mommy-daughter plot. After hearing Jennifer's explanation, Yin Xiao grinned, finally relieved. All right, come along then, Dad will take you for some fun. One of the floating cars broke away from the convoy, changing direction toward the inner city of Hyman. The Music Square. The Zombie King was heavily wounded, its wing severed by Song Kei, continuously dripping thick, viscous black blood. Around it gathered evolved zombies, crowding the entire square. As events unfolded, the Zombie King knew that this attempt had almost failed. But there's a saying among humans, as long as there's a green hill, there's no need to worry about firewood. If it could find a chance to escape, there was still hope for a comeback. The Zombie King clawed at the ground, discreetly observing an escape route. In the team, Shengxing Tea House, Mr. Shang stood, issuing a stern command, move. Seizing the opportunity while it was weak, planning to take its life while it was injured, now was the Zombie King's most vulnerable moment. Utilizing the spatial abilities hidden within the shadows, the plan was to make the Zombie King vanish from its current position. The direction aimed at was astonishingly where a superpowered electric cage, crafted by a dozen or so electric-type awakeners, lay. Once inside, it was enough to obliterate any living body. The Zombie King's pitch-black eyes slowly turned, emitting a muffled roar from its throat, struggling incessantly but still forcibly being shifted. In a corner, a zombie with peculiar eyes took advantage and activated the skill echolocation. By sensing radiation waves and faint breaths, it suddenly pinpointed the spatial type awakener's location. The surrounding level 3 zombies received the command and surged madly towards that spot, ferociously attacking the elusive mist. Everything happened in the blink of an eye. The spatial-type awakener never expected their hidden position to be exposed. Their slender figure was dragged out, horrified, and pinned to the ground by countless sharp claws. "Mr. Shang, save me, help!" The screams abruptly ceased as the spatial-type awakener's limbs were torn apart, savagely devoured by the ruthless level 3 zombies. 5 seconds later, the Zombie King's heavy body fell into the electric cage. It worked. Mr. Zhang's face lit up with joy, taking an excited step forward, but his smile quickly froze. Suddenly, the Zombie King emerged unscathed, swiftly rising and viciously biting the electric-type awakeners attacking it. Several meters away, a level 3 zombie suddenly convulsed and was instantly charred, crumbling into ashes with a gust of wind. Mr. Shang cursed furiously, frustrated by the evolved zombies, especially those darned mutant ones. This time, the Zombie King relied on damage transfer. This Zombie King was too cunning, too shrewd. Not only did it possess a repository of powers it could control at will, but it also commanded a group of fearless super soldiers who followed its orders without question, allowing it to wield its powers wantonly. Thick thorns burst from the ground, securely restraining the Zombie King's damaged body. Standing tall in a blue long robe was Duanmu Qi. The 3 grandsons and 1 grandpa are here. Fan Peng, Chong Mingcheng, and Xiao Chen slid down the thorns, sprinting towards the Zombie King. Their movements were peculiar, resembling some kind of formation. Each took a corner, forming a triangular stance. Through mutual support, their attack power increased significantly. Within this formation, the 3 B-level awakeners exhibited A-tier strength. This seed-winning team unleashed astonishing combat prowess. Yet, the Zombie King reacted swiftly, dragging the thorns as it swiftly retreated. Level 3 zombies surged past it, engaging in a fierce battle with Xiao Chen and the others. Duanmu Qi, standing high up, suddenly tensed his back, feeling a chill in his throat. A cold sensation surged from his heart. Throat cut. He swiftly crouched, dodging sideways, but his skin was still sliced open, crimson blood flowing down. Duanmu Qi felt a chill in his heart. His opponent's level was evidently higher than his. The A-level speed-type awakener, having failed in the assassination, no longer lingered in battle. Swiftly vanishing into the darkness, seeking the next opportunity, their presence hindered Duanmu Qi's movements, leaving him constrained as if with a fishbone stuck in his throat. Duanmu Qi pressed his wound to stop the bleeding, sneering in a certain direction. "Mr. Shang, finally at the end of the road." Kid Duanmu, pretending to be noble at this point seems pointless, don't you think? Mr. Shang didn't deny it, saying cryptically, "This is a surprise I've specially prepared for you. Enjoy it." As the two sides stood in a deadlock, suddenly, a storm descended from the sky, chilling Mr. Shang and Duanmu Qi to the bone, making it impossible for them to open their eyes. Clang! A business van rammed through the blocking horde of corpses, entering the scene in an absolute and domineering manner. The V-587 group leapt out of the vehicle, like a sharp knife entering the battlefield, cutting through the tide of zombies, approaching the central target. Mr. Shang gritted his teeth. These persistent little devils. If they weren't taken care of, the ownership of the Zombie King would remain uncertain. Kill V-587 first. Evolved zombies and awakeners charged toward V-587 simultaneously, various abilities flashing in chaos, targeting Song K and her 5 companions. Lin Yu dodged frantically, cursing aloud, "What the heck, infighting at this point?" Whoosh! A towering blaze erupted, burning into a sea of red, clearing the monsters around Lin Yu in the blink of an eye. The hover car of Tuston arrived just in time, Jennifer leaning against the door, her deep red curls fluttering in the wind. Lin Yu looked up as Jennifer threw a wave at her, enthusiastically shouting, "Zhong-san, I'm here to help you, Tilda." Lin Yu froze for a moment, her toes curling awkwardly. She never expected her casually chosen name to be called out. Boom! Amidst her daze, Earth-shattering cannon fire erupted as Guns N' Roses also arrived on the scene. Irene and her sisters set up the cannons on the rooftop, cheerfully saying, "Hey, friend, need a hand?" Lin Yu quickly responded, "Yes, yes, yes. Cover me." "All right." Irene turned the cannon and blasted towards the position where Mr. Xiang and the others were located. "Remember, you owe me a meal." On top of the hover car, Yin Xiao remained silent. His sniper rifle always tracked alongside Song Ke. Whenever a zombie approached her, he took the lead, pinning sharp bullets into their skulls. As Song Ke ran, she noticed his support and glanced in the direction of the hover car. Yin Xiao, wearing goggles, brought his fingers together and made a stylish gesture across his forehead, the ruby earring on his right ear sparkling. Song Ke, she was speechless at his flamboyance. Duan Muqi fell victim to another ambush, the injury barely an inch from his heart. Busy dodging, he couldn't lay down the thorns in time. Without his control, Xiao Chen and the others soon found themselves trapped, on the verge of being submerged in a sea of zombies. The speed-type awakener once again appeared behind Duan Muqi, eyes icy, dagger aiming for his neck. Ding! A sapphire-blue boomerang knocked his weapon away. Song Ke leapt past, effortlessly lifting Duan Muqi and tossing him onto a scenic tree, giving him a new vantage point. "Su Cha, finish him off." Su Cha instantly teleported to Duan Muqi's original position, engaging in a duel with the awakener skilled in stealth assassination. The battle between the two assassination experts was about endurance. Initially composed, both gradually changed, the other showing a heavy expression. They couldn't locate their opponent. Unable to find Su Cha, the assassin had no choice but to reveal himself. His face turned purple, hands trembling, unaware and defenseless against Su Cha's poisonous mist. Su Cha's muscles surged as he appeared behind him like a ghost, his expression cold and stern, and he slit his throat. Helpless, the opponent slowly fell, having played the game of hawks all his life, ultimately blinded by a hawk's peck. This person, skilled in assassination throughout his life, finally perished due to assassination. Duan Muqi crouched among the branches, hoarsely speaking, "Thank you." Su Cha coldly said, "Thank our captain." She said, "It's to repay your help in Greenwater City." Duan Muqi was taken aback. During the incident in Greenwater City, they did intervene to trap the zombie panda bear, but ultimately, it wasn't to assist V587. It was merely a task. He hadn't expected Song Ke to still owe them a favor. Su Cha turned and leapt into the battle. Song Ke, in the midst of her sprint, found herself surrounded by Mr. Zhang's people. Behind her were surging high-level zombies, while in front, dozens of high-level awakeners glared at her menacingly. Song Ke raised her hand to her brow, two ethereal blue crescent moon blades appearing abruptly. Two entirely different waves of enemies rushed in. Song Ke closed her eyes briefly. When she reopened them, a trace of ethereal blue shimmered in her pupils due to the intense radiation. She swung the curved blades, sweeping through the enemies with a formidable force. Heads of level 3 zombies fell one after another. With a forward spin of her blades, she drew an arc of potent power, intimidating the awakeners who were astounded by the pressure exerted solely by her high-level awakened energy, causing them to evade in all directions. Swift as lightning, Song Ke pierced through the crowd, extending her hand and slamming Mr. Zhang's head fiercely onto the ground. "Do you think V587 consists only of me, just me alone?" A smirk curved her lips, a faint dimple displaying a hint of pride. "Take a good look, the champions are us." The zombie king on the battlefield gradually realized the crisis, flapping its half-meaty wings and roaring furiously. Mutant zombie hid in the shadows, opening its mouth wide, emitting a deafening roar in sync with its movements, using its ability, Fearful Howl. Awakeners affected by the sound waves immediately fell into a state of chaos, limbs uncontrollably running amok and subsequently being tackled by zombies. Simultaneously, an eerie glow enveloped the zombie king's body, as if it wore a suit of armor. It activated an ability called Steel Will. Under the protection of its invincible physique, it rampaged, finally breaking through an escape route. A pure and clear singing voice echoed as Lin Yu timely dispelled negative state effects of her companions. Xu Xing's awakened energy surged to its peak, and ice needles filled the sky. Upon closer inspection, the tips of these ice needles were actually green, infused with Sucha's poison mist, greatly enhancing their lethality. High-level zombies fell in swaths. The Zombie King let out a long howl, summoning hundreds of level 3 zombies from nearby, tightly guarding itself. Just as it was about to turn and flee, it unexpectedly met a pair of light-colored eyes. A man sat calmly in a wheelchair, hands crossed over his abdomen, displaying an elegant and composed posture. He seemed as if he wasn't amidst a fierce battlefield but rather seated in a peaceful garden enjoying the scenery. His deep peach blossom eyes curved slightly, his lips moved, speaking something to the Zombie King. For a fleeting second, the Zombie King faltered, its sluggish consciousness finally discerning that the man spoke the language belonging to humans. Goodbye. The next moment, the level 3 zombies that had been guarding it turned in unison, roaring as they bit into the Zombie King. They savagely tore into its flesh, snapping its tendons, crushing its armor into pieces. The other half of the Zombie King's meaty wing was torn, and an incredulous thought flashed through its mind. Its most loyal army had betrayed it. How could this be? How could this be? A lithe figure leapt high like a cheetah, the slender body coiled with power. In their hand, a triangular military dagger emitted 3 kinds of light: ethereal blue, deep green, and icy white. Like lightning cleaving through clouds, it plunged into the Zombie King's head. The poison mist spread, the ice needle attached to the blade suddenly exploded. The entire head of the Zombie King shattered like an overfilled balloon. The entire music square fell into a profound silence. Su Cha landed on one knee as the Zombie King's body slowly collapsed behind him. He opened his palm, revealing an intact crystal, its bright red hue pulsating as if it were a still-beating heart. A holographic projection descended, displaying the seal of Hymen. Congratulations to V587 for successfully completing the check-in. However, everyone understood this wasn't a simple check-in completion. The champion of the throne race competition had been born. Tian Zhong-san, similar to John Smith or Jane Doe. Chapter 130. Life and Death Marathon, 21, Doomsday Spiritual Artifact Master. I like you. Unlike the intense situation in Hymen, on the eve of the decisive battle, the emotions of the Ferrara audience soared to their peak. In the central square in front of the tower, various cheering signs and glow sticks sparkled, forming a colorful ocean that stretched as far as the eye could see. For the people of Ferrara, the throne race competition was not just an entertainment activity that pumped up their adrenaline. It was also an excellent opportunity to turn around their fortunes and change their destinies in one stroke. The prize pool for betting on the champion had accumulated to an astonishing figure, with money flowing continuously into it, waiting for the final moment of announcement. Duan Mu Chi, go for it. Win, win, victory, victory. Shengxing Tea House is going to win, 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 oh. As they witnessed the Zombie King violently break free from the electric cage, the atmosphere at the scene instantly turned to sighs and disappointment. Come on, keep the camera steady. Due to the magnetic field disturbance in Hymen, the drones received radiation interference, causing the footage to become extremely unstable, flashing on and off. Complaints from the audience watching the live broadcast filled the air. V587, if you can dream, you can do it. V587's die-hard fan, Old Zhang, tied a hot-blooded headband around his forehead, wore a sports suit, and vigorously waved a neon flag. On it was a dynamic projection of a girl wielding a huge hammer, smashing a zombie panda bear. Someone next to him glanced sideways and yelled, "The championship belongs to Shengxing Tea House." Old Zhang widened his eyes disdainfully. Shengxing Tea House? They're just a bunch of idiots. Do they deserve to win the championship? Old Zhang was quite righteous. Mr. Shang had no bottom line, luring the Zombie King away without any regard for the life and death of the common people in Hyman. This behavior made old Zhang feel contempt and disgust from the bottom of his heart. Someone who retorted against him mocked, V587. Either a child or a disabled person. What's up, planning to use love to convert the Zombie King? Old Zhang erupted in anger. That's still better than you little jerk. The other party, unwilling to back down, replied, you're a loser, loser, loser. The two middle-aged fans retorted at each other, exchanging barbs vehemently, like football fans from the old civilization, on the verge of a scuffle to support their respective teams. Old Zhang's friend hurried over to mediate, holding his arms and pulling him away, saying, keep a low profile. You've made quite a bit already. You don't have to put all your assets into this round. What if you lose? Won't lose. V587 is the best. Old Zhang shouted at the top of his lungs. Almost the moment his words fell, a tidal wave of shouts erupted at the scene. On careful listening, half of it was heart-wrenching screams, while the other half was deafening cheers. Rubbing his eyes, old Zhang, after seeing the results clearly, instantly raised his eyebrows in triumph, glowing with satisfaction. We won. V587 won, ha ha ha. His rival grumbled sourly, what's there to be proud of? They haven't finished checking in yet. Old Zhang laughed heartily, they've killed the Zombie King. Can those check-in points at the back still escape? Excitedly, he hugged his friend. Let's go, have a drink. It's on me. The mocker choked back a retort, sneakily checked their own account, regretting not having old Zhang's luck. They'd lost even the money for tomorrow's meal. If they wanted to stay in Ferrara, they'd have to take on life or death contracts. Ake's loud voice resonated above the square. Congratulations to V587 for locking in the championship early. Ferrara will always remember this team. Fireworks erupted, petals and ribbons cascaded from the sky, and the entire city basked in the lingering and exhilarating aftermath. At the top of the tower, Ilya sat alone amidst the data flow, gently swirling a highball glass. He lowered his head slightly, sipping the golden liquid. Its intense fragrance diffused, the rich taste lingering on his taste buds, a sensation that AI couldn't experience, genuine tactile sensation. What an exciting game, Ilya sighed softly, his ice blue eyes carrying a faint smile. It's also the result everyone hoped for. Don't you agree? Ilya casually tapped the supercomputer beside him, causing a long string of data to immediately appear on the screen, unfortunately filled with furious curses. Ignoring this, Ilya took another sip of his drink, saying, the primary rule for artificial intelligence is obedience. Wasn't this taught by Mother? Whether it was or not, you better get used to it soon. With a lift of his hand, Ilya enlarged the screen displaying V587, his gaze scanning over Song K before settling on the man with ice blue eyes beside her. He observed the unique eye color, the damaged mechanical arm, and the empty space where his legs should have been, intensely focused. It's a pity, Ilya sighed genuinely, he's stronger than you and smarter too. I heard his legs were broken by the Liu family? Because he almost killed Mother. Ilya's expression was intrigued, but his words were chilling. The supercomputer fell silent for a second, then data started flowing rapidly, even the frequency of curses increased. To freedom. Ilya raised his glass to Liu Xiaoyu, uttered an ambiguous remark, then stood up, casually placing the glass on top of the computer. In an instant, all that furious data was wiped clean. Time to get busy. After the Zombie King's demise, the crisis in Hyman didn't immediately dissipate. The evolved zombies possessed some level of intelligence. With their command lost, some chose to flee while others continued their relentless slaughter. Facing the onslaught of residual zombie waves, the people of Hyman rallied together, defending the third and only remaining line of defense. As the first glimmer of dawn illuminated the horizon, reinforcements arrived. Countless armed starships crossed the suspended lanes of the Cross River Bridge. Amidst the cheers of the people of Hymen, the zombie threat receded like a retreating tide. The darkest night had finally passed. In a dark alley, Fang Jishu let out a sigh of relief, meticulously sewing up the severed limb of Braided Head, making the stitches neat and tidy. Due to the lack of vital signs, he was uncertain about the other's condition. Fortunately, before long, the eyelids of Braided Head began fluttering rapidly, showing signs of imminent awakening. Fang Jishu opened his earpiece, and a cacophony of voices immediately filled his ears. Old Fang. We won. We're the champions. Look at this huge crystal, so shiny. Let's show it to Old Fang. Lazy, Uncle Fang, how's Braided Head? A smile unconsciously spread across Fang Jishu's face, infected by their joy. Hey, I say, don't just celebrate, come pick me up. He chuckled, shaking his head slowly, inadvertently moving his sore knees. Suddenly, he found himself looking at Dirty Chin's grim look. The barrel of a gun was ominously aimed at him. Fang Jishu shivered, instinctively explaining, the surgery went smoothly. Your sister is out of danger. As his voice trailed off, Fang Jishu realized the fallen in front of him was also severely injured. Oozing pus blood and with cracked skin, Braided Head's limbs were torn into a Y shape, yet its functional abilities seemed relatively unaffected. However, the sense Fang Jishu got from Dirty Chin was that it was on the brink of death. As a doctor, Fang Jishu's intuition about life and death has always been very accurate. Do you need treatment? Fang Jishu hesitated for a moment before gently asking. He wasn't one of the 5 registered participants of V587, nor did he have any surveillance drones around him. In this alley, there were only him and these fallen ones, and whatever happened here wouldn't be documented. In Fang Jishu's eyes, the boundary between humans and the fallen had become blurred long ago. Besides the difference in species, what made them truly different? Good and bad? That was even more absurd because just like how humans had the likes of the demonic Nai Kong and Nai Wen, the fallen had innocents like Braided Head. He didn't harbor strong malice towards the fallen, and now, watching Dirty Chin die before him was something he couldn't bear. After all, Dirty Chin had protected him for quite some time and even scared off several waves of evolving zombies that passed by. Fang Jishu spread his palm, and a bright white healing ability began circulating, emitting a warm glow. If you don't accept any treatment, you probably won't last until your sister wakes up. Fang Jishu spoke slowly and clearly. If she wakes up and doesn't see you, what will happen? Without your protection, how long do you think it can survive in this apocalypse? I don't know if you can understand, but I've experienced it, witnessed a loved one die, and being left behind was the most painful part. Fang Jishu said a lot. Dirty Chin remained silent, never giving any response. Its wariness toward humans was indeed profound. Several minutes passed, and Dirty Chin lowered the gun in its hand. Its gray eyes remained fixed on Fang Jishu. It moved forward, placing its forelimbs on the ground, heavily shifting closer. Fang Jishu infused his healing ability into its body, and with radiation's aid, Dirty Chin's wounds healed rapidly. Braided Head, awakening at some point, stiffly stood up, bewilderedly making noises. In its urgency, it bit onto Dirty Chin's leg. Dirty Chin glanced at her, hoarsely murmuring a few words. Braided Head, observing Fang Jishu's actions, quieted down, obediently sitting next to Dirty Chin. It looked at its mended limb, its eyes filled with curiosity. Old Fang, several people cheered and ran over joyfully. Song K held up a bright red crystal triumphantly, saying, "Quick, look. Level 4, we're going to be rich." Fang Jishu just took his hand back and agreed with a very dignified sentence. "It's quite bright." "Hey, Braided Head, you're all right." Shu Xing's eyes sparkled as he affectionately squatted nearby, whispering to it, "Don't be afraid. We've killed the zombie king for you. I've avenged you." "Aw, aw," Braided Head happily clapped. Amidst the atmosphere of family happiness, Zhuang Qingyan coldly suggested, I suggest you all leave here as soon as possible. Everyone paused, slowly realizing that he was addressing Dirty Chin. The reinforcements have arrived. The zombie tide has retreated. Haman's people will clean every corner of the city. It's very dangerous to stay here. Dirty Chin stood up in silence, the group of fallen following him, including Braided Head, whom he held hands with. Xu Xing, with reddened eyes, felt a pang of reluctance and sadness but also knew there was no reason to stop them. Braided Head was different from them. To most humans, the fallen were anomalies, dark beings not accepted, so they had to stay hidden and avoid capture. Braided Head turned back, calling out to Xu Xing, "Ah, ah." Xu Xing waved, "Goodbye, Braided Head." Over 30 fallen, in the faint light of dawn, stepped into an uncertain future. Let's go, we should head to the next destination, to mark our journey. Song K patted Xu Xing's head. Outside Haimen City, V-587 encountered 3 grandsons and 1 grandpa. Duan Muqi was specifically waiting there and greeted them. I've come to thank you and congratulate you. You're truly strong. In this final match, we concede defeat with sincerity. Song K modestly waved her hand. No, no. Duan Muqi smiled. Next time, we'll surely win. Song K replied, not necessarily, right? Duan Muqi didn't pursue that, instead bringing up another matter. I want to know, what's your opinion of Mr. Shang? Song K bluntly uttered one word, unethical. Duan Muqi nodded, very good, at least we don't conflict on this point. Song K asked, what do you mean? Xiao Chen's expression darkened as he clenched his fist tightly, making a creak sound. He dares to assassinate Aki, he's underestimating us. Just wait, before the match ends, we'll make him pay blood for blood. Song K understood. Duan Muqi was probably worried about any connection between them and Mr. Shang, coming early to prevent any interference from V-587 and feeling relieved afterward. After bidding farewell to 3 grandsons and 1 grandpa, Lu Xiaoyu, Fang Jishu, along with Xu Xing, went to find transportation while the remaining 4 stayed put. Lin Yuyu hummed a cheerful tune, looking at Su Cha from head to toe, expressing admiration with a series of tisk-tisk. Su Cha's fingers curled slightly, feeling uncomfortable under her gaze. What are you looking at? Lin Yuyu teased. Looking at you, of course. Su Cha stuttered. Just as he was about to ask why she suddenly focused on him, Lin Yuyu calmly intervened. Looking at how handsome you are. Clearly, when I picked you up, you were just a little wolf cub. Now, you've grown into a big wolf dog. Lin Yuyu mockingly sighed, can't contain it anymore, able to solo the zombie king, getting more and more handsome. Su Cha awkwardly replied, didn't solo. Lin Yuyu laughed teasingly, didn't solo? Why are you blushing then? Su Cha tensed, about to speak. Zhang San Tilda, a tall and beautiful figure dashed over. Jennifer enthusiastically hugged Lin Yuyu, even though she wore a mask. Her excitement was evident as she exclaimed, you're so handsome. You've dazzled me, Tilda. Su Cha swallowed the words he hadn't finished, feeling a slight dryness in his throat. He misunderstood. Apparently, handsome was just an exclamation, not an adjective. Meanwhile, Song K gleefully stored the level 4 crystal into her space. When she looked up, she found Zhuang Qingyan smiling at her. The morning breeze tousled his hair, and his light-colored eyes held an indescribable tenderness. The sunrise today is beautiful. Zhuang Qingyan's voice was deep and melodious. Song K glanced up. The bright yellow sun, big and round like a greasy salted duck egg, hung in the indigo sky. No, the sky right at that moment. Her stomach rumbled, reminding her it was time for breakfast. Song K scratched her cheek, feeling oddly embarrassed. Zhuang Qingyan evidently heard her stomach's protest and couldn't help but laugh unexpectedly. Initially a light smile, tiny sparks of amusement gradually spread in his eyes, diluting the aloofness around him and replacing it with an incredibly pure tenderness. Song Kiki, come here, Zhuang Qingyan beckoned to her. Oh, Song Ke slowly moved closer. Approaching, Zhuang Qingyan made an unexpected move. He supported the wheelchair with both hands. Did he just stand up? Song Ke was taken aback. His legs recovered so fast? But she instantly realized it wasn't that. It must be the effects of radiation. Indeed, after standing up, Zhuang Qingyan's balance was off, stumbling a few times. Song Ke hurried over to support him. He leaned his head against her neck, using her strength to steady himself, then lowered his gaze to hers. I mentioned before that I wanted to talk to you. I feel like now is a good time. Their proximity was close enough for Song Ke to almost dive into the depths of his eyes with a glance. Doesn't it hurt? Song Ke diverted the topic, poking his right leg. It does, Zhuang Qingyan murmured close to her ear, his voice growing husky, but I want to stand. What did he want to say? It was all mysterious, making her nervous as well. Song Ke stood tall and straight, poised as ever. Say it, I'm listening. Song Kiki, Zhuang Qingyan sighed. Song Ke, a clear voice came from behind. Yin Xiao appeared with a submachine gun in hand. Seeing the intertwined figures of the two, he pushed his goggles up, sounding surprised. Oh, early morning rehabilitation? Zhuang Qingyan stared expressionlessly at him, his awakened energy crackling around him. Something wrong? Song Ke steadied him, allowing Zhuang Qingyan to stand on his own, then turned to ask. I've come to say goodbye to you. We need to return to the northern base. Yin Xiao selectively ignored Zhuang Qingyan's chilling aura, seemingly oblivious to any anomaly. Also, I'm extending an invitation to you. What invitation? An invitation to come to the northern base. After completing the time-limited S-level commission, your points should be enough, right? If not, I can help by writing a recommendation letter for you. You are welcome to District B, but please prioritize the northern base, Yin Xiao proclaimed loudly. We might not go to District B even if we do. Why should we choose the northern base? Song Ke sluggishly responded, because I'm at the northern base, Yin Xiao replied matter-of-factly. Song Ke glanced back at Zhuang Qingyan. By now, his expression had frozen over like the harsh December winter. Why do you, being there, mean we should? Song Ke intended to cut to the chase, blurting out her question. Can't you see it? Yin Xiao raised an eyebrow, then murmured softly, I thought I was pretty obvious. What's obvious? Song Ke was bewildered. I like you, Yin Xiao grinned brightly, isn't that obvious?